Good morning and welcome to this press conference organized by the Up for Debate Alliance on the cancellation of our plans for a nationally televised leaders debate on women's rights and gender equality issues. I want to acknowledge that we are meeting here today on unceded Algonquin territory. We will be speaking in English and we're happy to respond to questions that are posed either in English or in French. It is with great regret that the Up for Debate campaign is canceling our plans to hold a nationally televised leaders debate on women's rights and gender equality issues in the lead up to this year's federal election. In March, Up for Debate went to all federal party leaders, and we invited them to participate in a debate on these issues. Months later, and with only days left in the federal election campaign, we were only able to secure a commitment from the NDP and the Green Party that they indeed were prepared to put these issues up for debate in a standalone debate on these issues. The other federal parties did not, sadly, commit to participating in such a debate. Up for Debate is a campaign organized by a very broad alliance of women's rights and equality-seeking organizations from across Canada, including Amnesty International, the organization that I work for, and Action Canada for Sexual Health and Rights, the organization my colleague Sarah works for. We came together in this campaign because we recognize the importance of federal leadership in creating a world where social movements and women's rights organizations are supported, where poverty, including poverty based on gender, is eliminated, and where women, transgender, non-binary, and two-spirit people can live free from violence and from discrimination. Collectively, we recognize that the last time a debate was held on these issues was 35 years ago, so in 1984. And we've really recognized that without a standalone debate on these issues, they become completely out of sight and out of mind. And this isn't the first time that we have tried to organize such a debate. We've recognized for quite some time that these issues are out of sight and out of mind in federal election campaigns, and the Alliance came together 4 years ago in the 2015 election, and we then called on federal party leaders to commit to being up for debate on these issues in a nationally televised standalone debate on women's rights and gender equality. And at that time, we were not able to secure commitment from all parties. So 4 years later, in 2019, we have again tried to secure commitment for a debate, and we have again failed to get a commitment from all party leaders. And this is ever more disappointing because we really did have hope, great hope, when the newly formed Leaders Debate Commission was established, because in its mandate, it explicitly said that the debates will help you make your own decision about the issues that matter to you. It's also an opportunity to learn about issues that matter to other Canadians and be exposed to views that are different from your own and those around you. It's a window into the world of others, unquote. And so sadly, none of the televised debate were a significant window into how policies and programs promote equality and what steps need to be urgently taken to narrow the gender gap on everything from levels of sexual violence to levels of income. Moderators only asked one question on gender in the official French debate, and regardless of what questions were asked, we found that parties' leaders' responses were generally not gender sensitive. So what we did find that the existing debates were full of marvelous opportunities to raise these issues, but unfortunately they became missed opportunities to concretely address how each party was going to address women's rights and gender equality issues.
Thanks, Jackie. As Jackie mentioned, my name is Sarah Kennel. I'm with Action Canada for Sexual Health and Rights, one of the Up for Debate Alliance members that has been part of this initiative since 2015. As Jackie mentioned, we're deeply disappointed and in fact angered that gender equality issues were seldomly raised throughout the campaign period. And when they were raised, they were given little meaningful attention. Take, for example, the issue of abortion. Rather than speaking to the real concerns that feminist organizations have been raising for years on this topic, that is the issue of access to care, the debates brought us back to the 1980s, having leaders argue over whether or not we should reopen the debate. This is insulting and reflective of the fact that our leaders remain disconnected to the real issues facing women, trans people, non-binary folks, and two-spirit people in this country today. While some leaders have identified themselves as feminists, they have failed to meaningfully discuss pressing issues like violence against Indigenous women and girls, and strategies to address the disproportionately high rates of poverty and other forms of inequality experienced by women, trans, non-binary, and two-spirit people. In 2019, 35 years after the one and only debate on gender equality in this country, we're still tackling the same issues. Skyrocketing childcare costs, persistently high rates of gender-based violence, substantial wage gaps, precarious work and low wages, and under and unpaid care work, limited access to comprehensive sexual and reproductive health care, particularly for those living in rural and remote areas, the ongoing criminalization and regulation of bodily autonomy, lack of affordable housing and supports for those who experience or are at risk of homelessness, and of course, little to no funding for women's rights organizations, who are often charities who deliver the frontline services to the most marginalized in our communities. These are issues that directly impact more than half of Canada's population, and these issues were simply not up for debate during this campaign period. Without a standalone debate and concerted media coverage to these issues, it is impossible to know what steps each federal party will take to end gender inequality in all its forms. Women, trans, non-binary, and two-spirit people are not a homogeneous group. Our gender identities, our sexualities, our family status, our income level, our ethnicity, whether or not we are disabled, and many other factors shape how we experience inequality in this country. And we experience that inequality because we are women, because we are trans, because we are non-binary, because we are two-spirit, and this is discrimination. Gender inequality is more than 35 years old, but it is unacceptable that more than 35 years must go by before we can have real discussions about what measures our elected officials will take to finally put an end to issues that long ago became globally recognized as human rights violations. Now it will be nearly 40 years before our leaders wake up to the injustices facing more than 19 million people in Canada. Thank you.